Dan Mullen is available, but is he the right fit to be the possible new offensive coordinator at Nebraska? All right, let's talk about it. So Dan Mullen, there is no denying his credibility. It goes all the way back almost 20 years to when he developed, and he was Alex Smith, right, at Utah, and the great season when Urban Meyer was head coach. He was with Urban Meyer even dating back to his days at Bowling Green. To Utah, and then eventually to Florida, right? The offensive coordinator for those Tim Tebow teams. Dak Prescott, he developed as head coach at Mississippi State. And then what he's been able to do at Florida, right? He was right there. And I think the issues that he had at Florida were more head coach issues, right? Recruiting, making nice with administrators, press conferences, and saying things that maybe he shouldn't have said. They were head coach issues. When you're looking at developing talent and putting quarterbacks and offenses in great positions to put up yards and score points, Dan Mullen's your guy, right? He's got a plethora, decade plus of experience on doing great things on the offensive side of the football. Now, let's talk about the fit with Nebraska. I think it's scheme-wise, it's a pretty good fit. Philosophy, it's a pretty good fit, right? They're both looking to spread it around. They're both looking to distribute it to multiple receivers and multiple guys. They want to get the running game involved. That's the one thing about Urban Meyer's and Dan Mullen's spread offense is they like to spread you out, but also run the ball. They're a balanced offense. I think scheme-wise, it's a fit. I think scheme-wise, they could get along. But then that's where maybe the fit things end for Dan Mullen coming to Nebraska, because you have guys like this, your Lane Kiffins, your Bill O'Briens, and guys like this, and Dan Mullen's going to fit into that category that had big-time jobs and they go to Alabama to be offensive coordinators. And what do? They turn around, Steve Sarkisian is another one to throw into that list. They turn around and they get jobs right away. Is Dan Mullen going to want to go from the University of Florida that was exponentially better than Nebraska? And is he going to want to coach under Scott Frost? That's going to be the question. And that's something that's going to have to be figured out right away. Okay? There's these guys that I mentioned, right? Sark, Lane Kiffin, Bill O'Brien, all these guys. They're fine with being OCs. They're fine with taking the jump down because you're coaching under the greatest college football coach of all time. Scott Frost is a long way to go, and I can probably confidently say he'll never reach Nick Saban because no coach will probably ever reach the success Nick Saban has had. So that would be, if this is a marriage that would possibly happen, that's going to be the question. Is Dan Mullen comfortable coaching under Scott Frost? Like Dan was just at Florida. He's saying, man, I put up 10-win seasons in the SEC. You ain't done crap in the Big Ten at Nebraska. That's going to be the first thing. I think that might be a little worrisome if this is a possibility at Nebraska for Dan Mullen. But like I said, there's no doubt that he can coach quarterbacks. There's no doubt he can get the job done. Concern number 2 is this is going to be short term, right? Dan Mullen has proved himself as a head coach at Mississippi State, at Florida. You got to think this is a short-term situation for Dan Mullen as an assistant coach. Okay? He had one bad year at Florida. And maybe he just needs to reset, get an assistant job, and quickly bolt to the next head coaching job. And that might be the situation for Dan Mullen. I believe Nebraska wants something a little bit more long-term. They're trying to build something at Nebraska. And I think because the first concern that I mentioned and now the second concern that I mentioned, it would be awesome to see what Dan Mullen could do maybe with an Adrian Martinez in his last year, or maybe a guy like Logan Smothers, or a transfer quarterback, because there's going to be a lot of offensive talent returning next year for Nebraska. But those are two big concerns. If somehow they could get past the big concerns, that could be maybe something that could be figured out. But and then you factor in like what if Bill O'Brien bolts for a job? You're gonna if you're Dan Mullen, you definitely want to go to Alabama as opposed to Nebraska. You know, that's a lights out decision, much like what I just experienced here in the studio. Always fun. But that's kind of my take on Dan Mullen to Nebraska. Would be great to see it. I would love to see what he could do, but Nebraska's going to want something a little bit more long-term, and I'm not sure how Frost and Mullen would clash, and if they would clash, and how that marriage would exist. I want to know your thoughts. Could Dan Mullen be a possible fit as the new offensive coordinator at Nebraska now that he's no longer at Florida? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.